The NFL is such a cutthroat business, and nearly every player plays for more than one team in their careers in today's league. Tom Brady, the GOAT himself, is even playing for a new team after 20 years, as he will play this season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam Newton will also be playing for a new team in the fall, and he is the subject of today's video, is what does the future hold for Cam, and ultimately, what is his next step? But before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now let's begin. Cam Newton leaves the Panthers as a former league MVP, a 3-time Pro Bowler, and a former Rookie of the Year. He is in a unique situation because not only is he a free agent, but he is a good starting quarterback when healthy. The problem for Cam, though, is staying healthy, as he has played just 16 games in the past 2 seasons and only played 2 total games in 2019. In his last 8 starts, Cam is 0-8, which is a far cry from the 15-1 season the Panthers had in 2015. Cam also won the MVP that year as well. Teams have the right to be a little skeptical of Cam at this point in time because it is truly unknown as to how he's recovering. Not only do teams not know how he's recovering, but they won't know for a little while either due to the coronavirus. This is about as unfortunate as it can get for Cam because of this and how it impacts his future in the NFL. Whether or not Cam can be a quality starter in 2020 or not is a subject I'm not going to get into, but his circumstances leading to the 2020 season do not look good. Another problem in Cam Newton's future, and hear me out here, but he is a former MVP, and because of this limits where he can go. Teams with young quarterbacks like the Jets, Bills, and Cardinals won't be able to sign Cam because the second Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, or Kyler Murray throw an interception or take a sack to get their team out of field goal range, or anything young quarterbacks do, the crowd will be screaming to put Cam into the game, and the potential thought of that will steer teams away from signing him. This certainly isn't fair to Cam because he is a good quarterback when healthy, but this is the reality. And this isn't limited to just these teams, as the Giants, Bengals, and potentially the Dolphins wouldn't sign him either, with the progression and confidence of Daniel Jones, Joe Burrow, and Tua being hindered because of this. This hurts Cam's chances of being a backup anywhere, because this is 6 out of 32 teams he won't go to because of the thought of him hindering their franchise quarterback's development. 6 out of 32 teams translates to 19% of the teams in the league he won't go to. Let me go ahead and say this as well. If I'm wrong on this and Cam signs with one of these teams with a young quarterback, then I'm wrong and willing to live with it. The problem I see here is teams won't want to take the chance of their young gun pressing, or even if he has one bad game and the fans clamoring for Cam to be the starter the next game. With that being said, this limits Cam's opportunities to play in 2020 even further. Now we look at the teams Cam could potentially start for in 2020, which eliminates a lot of other teams. This leaves the teams Cam could start for in 2020 to at best maybe 3 or 4 teams in the entire NFL, which would be the Chargers, the Patriots, the Dolphins, and this is only if they don't draft Tua, and I personally think the next one is a media-driven one, but the Redskins due to the connection with former head coach Ron Rivera. The Chargers have said they are going to roll into 2020 with Tyrod Taylor as their quarterback, but I also wouldn't put it past them to give Cam a look when the time is right and the coronavirus is a thing of the past. However, I personally don't expect anything to happen for Cam within the next month or so because of the virus, and as aforementioned, there's no way for teams to give him a physical and potentially sign him. I also don't think it's out of the question for the Chargers to draft Justin Herbert at 6th overall either. Herbert is from the West Coast and would more than likely need a year to develop, and him sitting behind Tyrod for a year wouldn't be the worst thing to happen to him. And if the Chargers draft Herbert, then this would obviously mean Cam would not go to the Chargers in this scenario. The Patriots would make sense as they need a quarterback, as I don't think they're going to start a 34-year-old Brian Hoyer in 2020, who since the start of the 2016 season has a 1-11 record as a starter. Going into the season with the intention of starting Jarrett Stidham would be extremely risky, as he has just 4 career passes and one of them was an interception. Putting it like this, I think the Patriots make the most sense because the Dolphins I don't see happening with both Josh Rosen and Ryan Fitzpatrick already on the roster. Tua or another rookie quarterback will more than likely be on the roster as well, and for that reason I don't see Cam going there. The Dolphins wouldn't carry 4 quarterbacks under any circumstance. The Redskins one is more of a media-made rumor, and I don't see that happening for much of the same reasons I don't think Cam would go to Buffalo or the Jets. The Redskins wouldn't sign Cam just to hinder Dwayne Haskins' development. Now, the inevitable for Cam, for reasons he can't control, he, barring something crazy, will enter 2020 as a backup for somebody, and now the question is who? Recently, the Steelers have been linked to Jameis Winston as their backup, and some Steelers fans even want him to be the successor to Ben. While that would be a nice transition for the Steelers, that doesn't help out with where Cam would go. Truth be told, I think Cam's options are very limited, as he will more than likely command a relatively high salary for a backup, and with how far we are into free agency and how far we will be into free agency when he can get medically cleared, this really limits his options. I think the best place for Cam to go at this point would be to be a backup for Russell Wilson in Seattle and to spend a year getting healthy and becoming a great locker room presence. I personally think the 2020 season will be a humbling one for Cam because aside from the Chargers and Patriots, he won't start anywhere else, as every other team has their guy, or at least who they think their guy is. I didn't mention Chicago because they recently traded a 4th round pick for Nick Foles and took on his hefty salary, and they wouldn't want to have Cam on the roster either with a high salary number. If there was even a chance Cam could start in the NFC South, I think he would without a doubt want to play for one of those teams and even take a pay cut to really prove the Panthers wrong that he can still play when healthy and be a good quarterback. But with Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan in the division, that's just not a reality. Ultimately, I think Cam ends up on the West Coast, either with the Chargers or the Seahawks, and I would have said the Raiders had they not already signed Marcus Mariota. The future of Cam Newton boils down to a few teams, unless he's willing to accept a veteran minimum salary and controls where he goes. As a former MVP, he deserves significantly more than the veteran minimum, injured or not. Yes, Cam is 0-8 in his previous 8 starts and has 9 touchdowns to 10 interceptions in those starts, but giving him a year to get healthy could lead Cam to have a good last few years of what's left. Cam will be just 31 years old in 2020, and he could very well be a starter for somebody between the ages of 32 to 35. I wish the best for Cam going forward, as his career is really at a crossroads, and there's no sign of clarity with the coronavirus going on for who knows how long. The best possible situation for Cam would be to go to the Chargers, as if he goes there with Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, and Austin Eckler, it will be by far the best offense he's had in his entire career. As the year he won the MVP, his receivers were Ted Ginn, Jericho Cotchery, and Philly Brown. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.